some healthy habits and some healthy daily routines you can incorporate into your life for 2023, to live a happier and healthier life. And I'm going to kind of reflect on a lot of things that I've changed and I've experimented with 2022 that really worked for me, really worked well for all my clients. I know this is one of my first live streams in a while. I've been doing a lot of traveling. If you've been following me, went to Hawaii, went to Italy, also went to Kansas City for like for a Christmas party for my wife's company, which was incredibly fun. But now I feel this is going to be like the first week, back at work, back to normal life, back to eating well, back to staying healthy. So I don't have that many slides today. I got about 5 or 6 slides. I do have a lot of pictures on examples of some meals for healthy eating. Let me get the iPhone going here because I want to make sure I'm going to go in my comments. Hey, Krill. Oh, thanks for showing up, Krill. Yeah, for some reason, Krill, this happened sometime in the live stream. I see your comment on my phone, but it's not popping up on the live stream. But let's see how it goes. I can always use my phone, but I appreciate you showing up. Okay, hey, let's jump right into it. And once again, ask any questions you want: fitness, health, weight loss. Maybe I'm a little rusty because I haven't done a live stream in a while, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so building a healthy lifestyle, and I have to say, in 2022, I really incorporated like an early morning routine that I really, really liked. I changed a lot of things up. I've been talking about a morning routine with my clients for a long time. Okay, now again, the clients, now we're getting everything coming in. Thanks, Patel, for showing up. Good evening, Mike, watching from London, UK. Oh yes, nighttime there. I know. Okay, that's another thing you're gonna see when I go through these slides. One of my big goals for 2023 is to really create like a content calendar for all my social media content and really schedule it and really stick to it. So it may not be Sunday. I know I'm a little late today at 1:30. I normally go live at 11 o'clock. But over this coming week, I'm going to really map out a content calendar so everyone knows exactly when my new videos are coming out, exactly when I'm going live. And I think it'll just work better all around. So let's get back to the slide. So the first slide, we're going to talk about morning routine. Oh, this is kind of a cool thing. See this cup? I just found this cup this morning in the kitchen. My son actually had this made for me when he was young, like 5 years ago. It was so cool, and I just found it like it's a YouTube cup, so I'm so excited. I'm drinking a little decaf coffee here. Already had 2 or 3 cups of regular coffee. I love coffee. I know if anyone out there that loves coffee like I do, let me know. I just love it. I've been drinking a lot of espresso since I got back from Italy too, which I absolutely love too as well. So like I said, I've been really incorporating like a really consistent, steady morning routine, and I really have a number of my clients doing it, and everyone seems to really like it. And obviously, number one is you wake up relatively early in the morning, and I'm also getting more into the circadian rhythm, and I've talked about it in the past. Your circadian rhythm is your 24-hour internal clock, which pretty much regulates every single process in the body: your genes, your metabolism, your hormones. And if you keep on waking up and going to sleep at different times, during the week, it kind of throws off your circadian rhythm. So I've been consistently trying to wake up pretty early. I wake up around 6 o'clock. I used to have a 6 o'clock client every day, for years, for decades, with the personal training. But now my earliest client is 7 in the morning. So it enables me to wake up at 6 o'clock, and even on the days when I don't have that client, like I have clients later in the day, I still wake up 6 o'clock every single day because I want to set my circadian rhythm. So that's one big takeaway already, which if you can go to sleep the same time every night and wake up the same time every morning, I think you're going to sleep better and you're just going to feel better. You get your body and you get your system in a consistent rhythm, which is really great. And this is like a new thing that I started doing, I say about 2 months ago, and it's shocking how good it feels to me. Is that doing the lemon juice. Okay, first off, when I wake up in the morning, obviously go to the bathroom, whatever, brush my teeth. I generally, hang around a little bit before I have that first cup of coffee, and I love black coffee, love the espresso. But generally, the first thing I've been doing now, and it wakes me up and it energizes me more than even the caffeine in the coffee does, is that I take a whole lemon, First, I like to soften up the lemon. I kind of like squeeze it and grind it up a little bit in my hand before I cut it open, so I get a lot of the juice out of it. And then I take half a lemon, squeeze it in a pint glass, like a 16-ounce glass of water. Make sure that I don't swallow the pits. I drink that, and then I do another second glass, and then I go sit down, and I'll talk about everything else I do. I have to say, I get more energy from that than drinking the coffee. First of all, you're dehydrated from sleeping all night, right? Plus, lemon juice helps control blood sugar. Some studies have shown that it actually even lower blood sugar. So I wouldn't be concerned at all if you're obviously if you're watching this, you're probably at the time restricted eating and intermittent fasting. That's one of my big things. And it doesn't really spike blood sugar. I think it's just a great addition to your morning routine, to your life, is drinking 32 ounces of lemon water. I absolutely love it. Hey, Chris, thanks for showing up, Chris. Chris from West Texas. I really appreciate it. Chris follows all my stuff. I'm so glad you're here today. That's great. I'm going to look at the comments once again on my phone. I also got a new iPhone, which I'm so excited about. I think my short form video is going to be so much better with the iPhone, but it keeps on shutting off. I hope I'm getting all the comments, because I'm not seeing them on my phone. I'm only seeing them now on the feed. So let's see. Interesting too. I decided to put this live stream out on multiple platforms today. So I hope it's working. Like, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I think I'm on LinkedIn, I think I'm on Twitter as well too. I think I put it out everywhere. Healthy Hollow. I always wait at least 1 hour after I wake up to drink my coffee, so it helps me with my circadian rhythm. It's difficult, but necessary. I totally agree. That's great. I mean, I used to make that mistake all the time, and that's something that I changed in the last few months. I'm totally on page with you on that. I used to wake up, instantly have a cup of coffee, just to wake me up. Now I switched over to the lemon juice and water, and I absolutely love it. I really think it makes a tremendous difference. Plus, my general rule has always been drink half your ounces of water every single day. But I'm literally drinking so much more than that, and I really do feel better. Especially if you're taking creatine, like I talked about in the fast. Creatine is probably the best muscle supplement, great for cognitive benefits as well too. But that kind of sucks water into the muscle, so you have to drink even more water. And I cycle on and off of creatine. Right now I just stopped. I was taking it for a while. But I think hydration is the key. And plus, muscles are all water, right? So you really need it. Okay, we got someone on Facebook, which is cool. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. I know I broadcast this on multiple. I think I'm on my time-restricted eating group. That's my private, intermittent fasting type group. It's free to join. Check it out. Join that. I think I'm also in my low-carb intermittent fasting course group, because I have my course that teaches you how to eat low-carb intermittent fasting, like a 4-week course. I think it's a great course. I think I'm going to do something special with it this year. I may modify it a little bit. Here's another comment from Chris. I commented on Facebook, but I didn't see it go through. Oh no. All right, so maybe there is an issue with all of that. What I'm quickly going to do without throwing this off too much, I'm just going to take a look over on Facebook just to see. Let's see if I'm being broadcast on. I think I'm going out on time restricted eating, but maybe the comments are not coming through. Okay, what could we do? I mean, I use Restream. I may change it because I've had some issues with it in the past. All right, so right, wake up in the morning, right? 32 ounces lemon water, love it. Then I drink my black coffee. And this is probably a new thing that I started doing that it really puts me in a really, really good mental state. Once again, I've been following that guy, 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃. He's the professor from Stanford. My favorite podcast, 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝘾𝙃 Lab. And all he talks about on the podcast are just things to improve the quality of your life and brain function. And he talked about this a couple of months ago, and I started doing it. See, I used to overwhelm myself every single day with these insane to-do lists. I wake up, this is what I'm doing this week, this is what I'm doing this month, I'm gonna do this today. And I'd look at this list I used to do it on my iPhone in my tasks, and I would say, oh my God, it was stressing me out. Let me see, we got a couple of questions here, and then we'll come back. Hey Rona, thanks for showing up. Okay, Rona says, hi Mike, I'm hearing a lot about zone 2 training at the moment. Okay, she's hearing a lot about zone 2 training in the moment. Long, slow, steady workouts, about an hour in length, 3 to 4 days per week. Good to know your thoughts on this as a basis for health and fitness. I absolutely Love it. I know I forget the exercise physiologist. There's like a famous guy, a PhD, who really popularized the term like zone two training. I go back to 𝘾𝙼𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂. I wrote his textbooks. He's one of my favorite. I guess I think I think he has at least one PhD. He's a brilliant guy. He's also like a chiropractor, but he's worked with world class athletes, and he was one of the first guys that really promoted like that fat adapted endurance athlete, and he was a big proponent of base building. So when I look at zone 2, which is like moderate aerobic training where your heart rate doesn't go too high, you're kind of on the low end of your target heart rate, I refer back to 𝘾𝙼𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂, and that's what I always did most of my life. I love it. It's like 𝘾𝙼𝙾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂's formula is like you take 180, you minus your age. So if you're 60 years old as me, 180, minus your age, what does that put me at? 120 beats per minute. That would be your max aerobic training heart rate zone. So when I do my base building workouts, like when I'm walking, I make sure my heart rate doesn't go above 120. I even go lower than that. So if you're cycling, and I think it's so incredible, it teaches the body how to burn fat because you're really in that fat burning zone. It builds that aerobic base conditioning. And then I'll do my interval training, just those short burst type workouts a couple times a week. Rona, I absolutely love it. In my mind, that's what zone two training is. Who's popularizing it now too is Peter Attia. That's another great podcast, The Drive. And he talks about it all the time, like zone 2 training. It's really just easy, moderate to easy aerobic type training where you can still talk to someone. But I love it, and I think that really should be the basis of most people workouts, doing zone 2 training. And we're going to be talking about it a lot today. Let's see. Here, and yeah, I know what you meant, Rona, sure. There we go, okay. Human in Lab podcast is great. Oh, I totally agree. That's my favorite podcast. I've listened to every single episode. Sometimes I listen to them twice. I absolutely love it. And I do so. You're going to hear about my routines. I do so much walking that half the time when I'm walking, I'm listening to these podcasts, which is great. Hey, Danny, thanks for showing up. That's great. I guess it's a little late at night for you too. Hey, Mike, hope all is well. Just putting the girls to bed here, but I'll try to come back. I appreciate it, Danny. I hope the family's doing good. Happy New Year to you. And I know you got some little ones at home. I love when my kids were little. I miss it so much. This is like the best time in your life, Danny, when the kids are little. I just love it. I loved it. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it, Rona. Okay, we got another Facebook user, and all I'm seeing to get is claps. So I don't know if I'm getting all the comments. Sorry about that. If you want to switch over to YouTube, Mike 𝘾𝙃𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂 on YouTube, maybe I might be able to see your comments better there. Okay, so let's get back to this. We're talking about these simple lists. So instead, I recommend this to people now. Like instead of making these complex like to-do lists, like what I'm doing this week, what I'm doing this month, and I would do them like every day, and it would stress me out. After listening to Andrew Huberman and learning like how the brain really does work, I go for those small dopamine hits every single day. Dopamine is like that neurotransmitter, like it's like makes you feel good. It's like the reward. When something good happens, you get a little dopamine spike in the brain, you feel really good. And that also correlates with task completion. And I talked about this a while ago. When I do this too, like making your bed in the morning, like I forget the admiral's name. There was an admiral, he had this famous YouTube video. It got like 1 million views, maybe more, talking about why people in the military make their bed. And they don't necessarily make their bed to keep the barracks clean. Obviously, you want clean barracks. He described that the reason why they make their bed first thing in the morning is because it's task completion. Like as soon as you wake up, you get something done. And you get that dopamine pop, and you just feel good, like you completed something. And I heard Andrew Huberman talking about this a lot. And that's what I incorporated now into my morning routine. Instead of making complex lists, I literally will make it like a daily to-do list of the simplest things. Like I'll say, like fill the gas up with car. Fill the car up with gas. Wash the car. Like really simple, like take my 30-minute morning walk. And I feel like it's almost subconscious. When you keep on completing all these simple tasks, it puts you in a good mental state. It puts you in a really good mood. But then when it comes to doing my like weekly and like monthly goals, I may set a different time to do that. Maybe in the evening, maybe instead of doing it every day, maybe once every week or two, I work on more of those long-term type goals. But I really like this concept. Everything, like cleaning up your office, write down a number of simple, like obtainable things that you can do all throughout the day. Is going to give you momentum. It's going to put you in a good mood. It's going to give you those little spikes of dopamine. Just like if I look at one of my videos and it's like taking off, I feel great. You know, you get those dopamine spikes, which is so good. Let's see what we got. Okay, hey, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Oh, thanks, Chris. This is great. He's giving me the claps. I really appreciate it. That's good. Okay. So that's part of the morning routine that I've incorporated in the last few months, which I really love. And this is the big thing. And I find this is a big change that I've made this year. If you know, you've been following me for years and you look at my YouTube channel, I'm such a big believer in time-restricted eating, intermittent fasting, that, you know, like say, obviously you guys know what it is, or else you probably wouldn't be here, where we restrict our eating windows to maybe an 8-hour eating window or 6-hour eating window. And for most of my life, me and my wife started doing it maybe probably over 12 years ago, started blogging about intermittent fasting, time restricted eating. And I generally always skip breakfast. It just worked so well in my schedule, especially when the kids were little or younger. I want to eat dinner with them. My wife she works from home now, but she used to commute to work, and she would come home, and I always wanted to have dinner, you know, with my wife and my kids. But it seems like in the last year, it seems like the research is getting pretty strong that it probably does make sense to take in some calories, especially protein, earlier within the day to maintain muscle mass, to put on muscle mass for hypertrophy, just in general. And sometimes it's hard to take in enough protein. I talk about that a lot with a number of videos when you're giving yourself a smaller eating window. So what I've incorporated for the last few months is that I've been eating a no-cal protein bar, which is about 21 grams of protein, high in fiber, 16, 17 grams of fiber, pretty much around 10 o'clock every single day. And I have to say, I really do love it. I see a difference already in my muscle mass after doing this for a few months. I feel like I'm a little bit more muscular without necessarily working harder in the gym. I also feel that I have more energy for my workouts, because I used to do most of my training fasted. Definitely my like zone 2 type training, and definitely my even my HIIT, high intensity aerobic training. But my resistance training, from time to time, I might have had a pre-workout protein shake or an intra-workout protein shake. But just doing this no-cal protein bar, it's a vegetarian bar, it's a vegan bar, complete protein. I love it. 10 o'clock every single day. And I generally do that as soon as I get back from my walk. And that's the other major big thing that I've been doing consistently. And I think this is a life-changing thing. If there's one thing out of this list that everyone should do, and I've got this mostly from Andrew Huberman, but I've been doing it for years anyway, because just instinctively I knew it was so good for me, is to take a walk first thing in the morning. I mean, there's not a singular better thing you can do to improve your life, improve your health, than to first get outside without sunglasses on, let the light hit your eyes. It sets your circadian rhythm. It jumpstarts your metabolism. It puts you in a good mood. You get your vitamin D. I absolutely love it. And Andrew Huberman talks about that. If you don't really have time, like, you know, sometimes with me too, like sometimes I'll have a client, like I try to be free around 10 o'clock. I generally have my clients kind of early. Maybe I'll do like a 7 and 8, and then I'll go jump out and do my walk outside before 10 o'clock. But there are times when maybe it doesn't work for me, but then I'll make sure that I sit outside, even if it's cold, even if it's cloudy, and I'll have like a cup of cappuccino or espresso, or something. Not cappuccino, mostly espresso, because I don't really have the milk. I've got cappuccino in my mind. For being in Italy, I drank so much cappuccino. And I'll have my coffee outside, getting the sunlight. It's so, so important. I would think those are the key things. All right, you wake up in the morning, right? You have your 32 ounces or at least 16 ounces of fresh lemon squeezed in water. Then you have your coffee, tea, whatever type of caffeinated beverage, if you do that you like, right? You make a list of simple tasks that are easily obtainable, that you can easily do for the day. So you keep on building momentum throughout the day, feeling good. I got this done. I love crossing them off. I just delete them from my iPhone. So I feel so good every time I delete one. I just feel great. Then I go outside, take a 30-45 minute walk in the morning. You know, at that point I'm still in the fastest stage, just well hydrated. 10 o'clock I have my no-cal protein bar to make sure I'm getting enough protein. And I just love it. And there's something else here, but we got a bunch of questions. Let me check out these questions. Okay, hey, Nick, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. This is great advice, Mike. Thank you. Hope you have a great new year. Oh, thanks so much, Nick. I appreciate you showing up. That's cool. What's that? Electrical services. So I get my electrical company. That's great. Cool. We need that. That's for sure. Is that 𝘾𝙊𝘼𝘾? Yes. Did I write it wrong? Yes, 𝘾𝙊𝘾. I particularly like, I should have one here to show you. I like the chocolate fudge, but there's so many different flavors. Why I like them so much. Okay, first off, it's a vegetarian bar. A lot of people, even though you're gonna see I eat tons of fish and a reasonable amount of animal type protein. I do this because I just love the taste of it, and it is a complete protein. It's a combination of, I think, a pea protein and brown rice, so it's like a complete protein. I like it so much because the net carbs are so low on those 𝘾𝙊𝘾 bars, meaning that even though there might be 25 grams of carbohydrates in the bar, the fiber is incredibly high, 16, 17 grams of fiber. And how you figure out net carbs is that you take total carbs minus fiber, and they give you net carbs. It's a very low net carb bar, very similar to a Quest bar, which I love those too. That's more of a whey protein isolate bar, which I think those are great too. But there's 𝘾𝙊𝘾 bar. The chocolate one is about 210 calories, like 16, 17 grams of fiber. I'm getting a third of my fiber for the day right there. And then I'm getting 20, 25 grams of complete protein. I love it. Some people think they're a little chalky. I love the bar. I think it's great. It doesn't upset my stomach. I think it even is good. It's good for my digestive system with all that fiber, which is really cool. Okay, Heather Holly, let's see. I love walking outside. Just feels good when the sun is shining. Great, me too. It puts me in such a great mood. I totally agree. Taking my dog for a walk and enjoying nature, there's nothing better. 100% agree. We think alike. I totally agree. I mean, when you think about it, and I know I've talked about this before too. I read a study, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, talking about if you just took a 10-minute walk after every meal, so you're eating 3 meals a day, after you eat your meal, you take just a 10-minute walk. It helps control blood sugar just as well as taking metformin, which is like a medication that diabetics take to control blood sugar. If the whole world just started walking every day, people's health would dramatically improve. And I talked about this, I think, the last time I did a live stream when I got back from Italy. The life expectancy of people in Italy, I think, is about 18 months longer, greater than people in the U.S. And it almost doesn't make sense, because I do think that that European lifestyle is a little bit more laid back, but they do smoke, they do drink plenty of wine. I mean, the portion sizes are under control, but they eat bread and all these different things. But the main reason why I think the general Italian person will live long is they're so much more active than people in the U.S. They just walk everywhere all day long. That's all day long. That's why some studies have shown people who live in cities like New York, Chicago, where you're walking, you're healthier, even though there might be more pollution and things like that, because you're just walking. I think it's one of the keys to a happy, healthy life, is to walk every single day. Let's see what we got here. In case you didn't see it, it's, oh, Susan, hey, that's great. I didn't realize it was you. That's great, cool. Thanks for showing up. So I guess it is coming in a little bit through Facebook, which is great. Thanks for showing up, Susan. Happy New Year. Hope all is well with you. Let's see what Chris got. Okay. I like the 𝘾𝙊𝘾 bar. What is your favorite flavor? Yeah, I do. I think it's chocolate fudge. I think there's a couple of different chocolate ones. I like chocolate fudge. I have had this lemon pie from time to time, which is really good. But I do find some of them, the fiber content is a little bit less. I like the chocolate fudge because it used to say 17 grams of fiber. Now I think it says 16 grams of fiber. But I think it's a great bar. But I like the Quest bar too. I find though with the Quest bars, it's a similar bar when it comes to calories, maybe a little bit less, and fiber, maybe a little less. I think it's 180 calories, maybe 14, 15 grams of fiber, like the Quest chocolate fudge. But I do find the consistency of the taste of a Quest bar, it changes all the time. One time I get a Quest bar, it tastes great. The next time I get a Quest bar, and it gives you a weird aftertaste. I find the 𝘾𝙊𝘾 bars are more consistent for me. I just love them, and they're a little bit few more calories. There's a little more, like a mini meal in a way, the 𝘾𝙊𝘾 bar. I really like it. Okay, let's see now. Another question. Oh yes, completely agree with walking after meals as well. At least 15 to 30 minutes. Incredible. I also take berberine, with my meals. You do? Wow, have found it's helped me tremendously. Yes, berberine. Berberine really, it's the same mechanism as like metformin. It really does work, berberine. I've actually got caught a couple times with berberine, meaning that I've taken it like on an empty stomach and I feel like it just really lowers my blood sugar and you get like shaky. I've actually heard 𝘾𝙰𝘾𝙃 say the same thing. Berberine really works. And it's relatively inexpensive too, and it's a natural thing. I think it's cool. That's great. I think it's great. And then the last thing that I've been doing, and I talked about this before, I even did a video on this a few years ago called, this is Andrew Wild. He's that Harvard doctor. He was one of the original, I say, like MDs from Harvard who kind of went in the holistic medicine way. I think his big like New York Times bestselling book was called Optimal Health, or like, was it like 7 Weeks to Optimal Health, something like that. I read it back in like maybe the 90s. I actually met him in the Hamptons once too, many years ago. And he's a big believer in this 4-7-8 breathing, and I love it. I think it's the easiest way to start a breathing practice without like, spending too much time and like overthinking it. And all it is that you breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. You hold that breath for 7 seconds. You keep your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and then you just breathe out. So you breathe in with the tongue on the roof of your mouth, hold it for 7 seconds, then exhale slowly, let your tongue drop, exhale slowly, and you only do 4 or 5 repetitions. I find it really relaxes me. That's the thing that I follow before I jump out of bed in the morning. Like my alarm goes over. Sometimes I just wake up on my own. I do 4 or 5 repetitions of 4-7-8 breathing. If you want to see how I do it, you can look the video up on YouTube. And that's another thing I forgot to mention when it comes to the walking. And since I've been doing a lot of research, I did a few videos on this, on how to increase nitric oxide. See, nitric oxide, is a molecule that really, it's so important because, the body naturally produces it, but you can increase it if you eat certain foods, like if you eat foods that are high in nitrates. That's why I eat arugula and beets and things every single day, because nitrates get converted into nitric oxide within the body. Or if you do take supplements like I take L-citrulline, which is a non-essential amino acid, which helps the body make arginine. I know it gets confusing, and that increases nitric oxide within the body. A lot of the pre-workout like mixtures and powders have like L-citrulline in them, have beetroot powder in them, because it increases nitric oxide, especially when you get older. See, nitric oxide helps lower blood pressure. It opens everything up. It's great for blood flow, even good for like mild erectile dysfunction, like things like that. I got a video that went viral on TikTok, like 1 million views. My first video hit like 1 million, or maybe 900. I think it may be over 1 million now, talking about like if you eating certain foods will help increase nitric oxide, things like that. So what I do for one of my walks for the day, my first walk, and I have to back to 𝘾𝙰𝘾𝙃, I got it from him, is that I only breathe through my nose the whole walk. And at first it was hard. Now I love it. It's no big deal. Plus I get like a little congestion in my nose. I used to take Flonase from allergies certain times of the year. Like I'm allergic to dogs, unfortunately, even though I love dogs. And I find that by breathing through my nose, it just opens up your sinuses. It increases nitric oxide. It's incredible for blood flow. And I know it can be challenging at first, but try it. The only negative thing about it, and I found a work around it, is that I like to smile to people. I've talked about this before. Like when I'm walking, and people know me now, you start walking on a path like every day at a certain time, you're going to meet the same people, because a lot of people are doing this. And I always like to wave, smile, how you doing, say hello. But at first, when I was trying to like only breathe through my nose, I was keeping my lips like clenched, like really tight. I wasn't breathing. Now what I do, similar to the 4-7-8 breathing, that's what reminded me. I just keep my tongue on the roof of my mouth, and then I just breathe through my nose the whole time. And I absolutely love it. I find it relaxing. I feel like I'm meditating when I'm moving, increasing nitric oxide. I think it's a great thing to do. Don't overdo it at first. Just do it you can do it for 30 seconds and then work your way up to your 10-minute walk or however long you're walking. And plus, just keep in mind, I'm a little obsessive, and this schedule does work for me because of my work schedule. Like I own my own gym, I have my own business. So you can modify everything I'm doing here. You don't have to do 32 ounces of lemon water. Start with an 8-ounce glass of water, quarter lemon slice, right? You don't have to make an insane list of those little dopamine hits. put 2 or 3 things down. You know, start easy. You don't have to do a 45-minute walk in the morning. A 10-minute walk outside with like 30 seconds of nasal breathing. You know, just modify everything I'm talking about here. You know? And if you're a petite gal, you don't have to eat a whole no-cal bar. Eat half a bar, right? Have one hard-boiled egg, like something like that. You know. Let's see what we got here. Okay, let's see what Nick's got. Mike, would you consider the no-cal bar as a good way to break my fast in the late morning? No, I think it's a great way to break the fast. I think it would be a great thing. You know, you may need more than that. I'm not sure what your whole structure is. But see, with me, like I'm saying, I used to always skip breakfast. I just moved everything up to this more early time-restricted eating. So I have my 10 o'clock bar, and you'll see when I go on the next slides, I have a post-workout meal and then my normal dinner. But I think that's a great way to break your fast. And if you want to see, I don't know how you found me, Nick. If you go, this is another thing I'm going to be doing going forward. And you're going to see at the end of this presentation, I have some of my own goals that I want to share with everyone for 2023. I'm going to use YouTube now more for my long form content. I feel like it really hurt my channel putting those short little videos on YouTube this year. And then I'm going to do the short form. And why I'm saying that, Nick, is that I have a whole maybe 50, 60 videos on Instagram, TikTok, and even Facebook Reels showing you exactly how I break my fast, the exact meals I eat. And I'm only like a minute or less, so they're really quick showing you exactly how I eat. So if you want to check them out, you may find that really helpful on how to break a fast. And that's going to be more my content strategy for this year coming. Let's see, Hamid, hey, how many steps per day do you recommend? You know, I would say it's hard to say. I would go more by time. I mean, truthfully, you can't walk too much, especially if you're doing it at an easy level. You know, 10,000 steps, I think would be wonderful if you have the time to do it. But even a 10-minute walk, I think is great. And I've never, truthfully, it's funny because I've tried one of those like Fitbits years ago. I found it to be so incredibly inaccurate. And I also, who's that? I forget the guy's name, the other PhD nutrition guy. He was on Peter T podcast maybe, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. And he was talking about how those watches and they're anywhere between 5 to 98% inaccurate. And that was like a meta-analysis of all those devices. I know maybe because I'm like more of an old school type guy, I get a little neurotic, like looking at my watch. Like it would drive me nuts to see how many steps that I take. I wouldn't think about it unless it motivates you. I would just, as much as you can when it comes to easy exercise, long, easy. And that's another general rule. The harder you work out, the shorter it should be. The easier you work out, the longer it can be. I feel we're all nomads. We should be walking all day long. You know, that whole ancestral thing, like scavenging for food, walking around, moving around, just being active. And everything counts, cleaning your house, mowing the lawn, going shopping, parking far away, all those corny things you people have been saying for years. Take the steps whenever you can. It all adds up. It really does, in my opinion. Let's see. Hey, James. Thanks for showing up. Happy New Year, Mike. After your no-cal bar at 10 a.m., when and what do you eat next? Yeah, I'm gonna get to that, my midday routine, and I'm gonna go into all that, James. I guess I'm getting stuck on this first slide a little bit. Okay, Hamid. Rather than drinking water, I drink lots of zero-calorie diet sodas. Do you think I should drink water instead? You know, I probably would. You know, unless you just love it. It's an interesting thing. You know, I don't think the artificial sweeteners are necessarily all that bad, especially if it's like a monk fruit or stevia natural, like a stevia type thing. It depends on the individual. A lot of people drink those drinks, right? And there's been some research that says that maybe it'll give you a little bit of an insulin spike, but there are no calories. So it makes people ravenously hungry. If it's not making you hungry and you love it and enjoy it, I wouldn't really worry about it. I've had clients do fine with it, but obviously it would be better just to drink a little, a little mineral water. And I talked about this in the past. I love Pellegrino. Even Whole Foods now it says Italian mineral water is like half the price of Pellegrino. It could be from the same well, like Whole Foods has so much influence because the mineral water is high in magnesium and you get a little bit of sodium, you get a little minerals, which is so good for you. And I think it's great. If you can switch to water, I would recommend it, but I wouldn't let it really affect your life either way. Sounds good. I do 15 incline 2.5 speed on the treadmill for 2 hours. Perfect base building. That's like philomaphatone all the way. You know, I would say maybe that's a little bit less than a zone 2 type training. Zone 2 would probably be a little bit higher by definition, but I think it's just as good. Love it. Okay. I love your shorts. Oh, thanks. This is great. They're talking about my short videos. Getting an idea of what food to eat is very helpful. I just find my stomach has shrunk so much that I can't get all the foods I want to eat. I try to spread them out over the week. I know that's good, but you have to. That's the. I think you hit on an area that I find is a little challenging when it comes to intermittent fasting, especially when you know, like me, I'm a big of only eating 2 meals a day. That's why I like to eat a protein shake or one of those protein bars just to make sure I'm taking an adequate amount of protein. I've gotten caught and messed up over the years. Everyone does when you really get into this fasting thing. Like, I know I talked about it a few months ago. I did a 3-day fast. I didn't really enjoy it. I don't know if I'll even ever do that again. Maybe I will. Who knows? But you have to really work at getting good nutrition in when you're eating in a smaller eating window, especially if like weight loss is not one of your goals. Initially, if someone comes to me and I work with someone, I just want them to lose the weight, and I'll do anything we have to get them to be their ideal weight. But once they're at their ideal weight, we really want to focus on just eating well. But I understand, you know, what you're saying. Totally. Hey, thanks for showing up, Nicholas. Hey, Mike, I weighed in. Whoa, 149. You're maintaining your goal weight. You know, he's doing so well, this young man. You know, it's just wonderful. I'm so happy for you. That's great. Hey, Harley, this is cool. Harley, how you doing? You know, Harley, I really like Harley. He's been so nice to me over the years. He's helped me with my YouTube channel, giving me great advice. We're in a group together. I haven't seen Harley in a while. I'm not sure if you're posting videos or else you would come up in my feed, but I hope you're doing well. Let's see what Harley says. Hey, Mike, just got online, saw you live and thought I'd say hello. I really appreciate you showing up, showing up. Hope you had a wonderful new year, your family, everyone's doing well. We'll be in touch. I'll DM you and we'll catch up a little bit. That's great. All right, so let's go next slide. Okay, this is more like my midday routine because I want to talk about working out and then James, I'm going to go into the next slide is my exact like diet plan, like what I'm eating for my first meal and my second meal. And all that. But let's see where the Hamid's got. Last question, Hamid. Let's see. What do you think about my diet? I do OMAD. OMAD stands for 1 meal a day type, and try to stay in ketosis. Ketosis meaning that, okay, he's eating a very low carb diet, so his liver is producing ketones from body fat. I think it's an optimal fat burning state. He fasts for 20 to 24 hours and have chicken breasts, eggs, sometimes fish, broccoli, and carrots. See, I like that he's not doing like a traditional ketogenic type diet. He is eating a good amount of protein. Like more traditional ketogenic diet would be even low in protein too, because you can get a little bit of a spike in insulin from protein. So let's see. I would think, honestly, Hamid, I don't want to throw you off because if you're doing well, I'm assuming your goal is maybe to lose some weight or to get down to your ideal weight. If you're at your ideal weight, I would say I probably wouldn't do this because I think it's really difficult to take in enough nutrition with just 1 meal a day. So I'm not quite sure what your goals are, but looking at this, there's definitely health benefits to being in ketosis. Good for your brain, good for reducing inflammation, can put you in a good mood, good for concentration. But I wouldn't consider this a good long-term strategy. To me, that would be something I would do maybe for a few weeks, for a month, to lose some body fat, maybe hit your goal weight, and then I would cycle out of it. That's something that would be good to do maybe intermittently, like you do it for 3 days, then go to more of a 2-mad with a protein shake. That's what I like, which is more long-term. But if you're feeling good and looking good and your blood work is good, I think it's, it's fine. I have to say, you go to those groups on Facebook, those OMAD groups, people lose 100, 150 pounds, and they're doing it for 2-3 years. It's incredible. It's incredible. So I like it, but in my opinion, I wouldn't personally do that long term. But I'm not really looking to lose. But a lot of weight. Every now and then I'll go into ketosis just to burn the little body fat for like a few days, and I cycle out of it. I like that mild ketosis, where you just kind of 0.5, like mildly dipping into ketosis, then you eat and you pop out of it. I've been doing that for years, which I really like. This is Harley. Hey, Harley. Yeah, not doing much on YouTube at the moment. Life is busy with other stuff. No, I hear you, Harley. I do. I hear you. Okay. Hey, Chris, thanks for the super chat. Really nice. You always give me super chats. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Okay, this is what Chris has to say. I've been working out. Okay, I've been working on my gut health. A lot of leafy And okay, I'm sorry. Let me start this again. Sometimes it's interesting. I just got contacts, and I absolutely love them, but I'm trying to adjust them. And I was wearing them earlier. I didn't want to wear them during this live stream because I wasn't sure how I would see the screen. So I feel like my eyes haven't really focused on the smaller text. But let me reread this from Chris. Okay, I have been working on my gut health a lot lately, and I've been drinking 1 to 2 cups of 𝘾𝙊𝘼𝘾𝙃 bone broth every day. I think that's great. I love it, Chris. I mean, okay, the bone broth. Okay. Why Chris is doing this? I'm sure he's doing his research. Is that bone broth is high in collagen, and collagen has a certain amino acid profile that's really good for your gut health. I think proline and glycine are the 2 amino acids that are really high in bone broth, which is really good for like the lining of your gut. I think it's great. The only negative is that that kettle and broth is expensive. I know. I got some upstairs too, and I sip on it too. I don't really do 2. I may do 1 cup a day, but sometimes I throw a little bit of collagen protein powder if I'm making a shake or something like that. And sometimes if I don't do a no-cal bar, I might do like a protein shake. I like that Garden of Life with maybe a little bit of collagen mixed in. Let's see what Nicholas got to say here. Mike, I'm a little unsure of what to do. I love fasting in the morning, but I'm unsure about lifting weights in a fasted state. I prefer breaking my fast in the afternoon. I wonder what Nicholas, it seems like whatever you're doing is really working for you. And I would rather you're a young guy, and if you want to put on muscle, I think it's probably a good idea to take in some calories, for the workout and not really work out in a fasted state. Don't worry too much about that early time restricted eating. I mean, I still think there's so much benefit. It's helping you to control your calories. Just stick to a schedule that works. And I try to preface that too, even though now I'm older and I don't want to lose any muscle mass. And I did it for like a decade, skipping breakfast, and it really worked for me. So if that works for you, don't let it mess you up. I think you can definitely do that. Just make sure you're taking in an adequate amount of protein and fiber and good nutrition in whatever eating window you're in. So I think it's totally okay to eat. Can I lift weights? You can lift weights in a fasted state, but I experiment with it. I probably wouldn't. I would probably do like a protein shake, maybe 30 minutes before. If you want to just keep the calories down, just do like a whey protein isolate with just water, 120 calories, 25 grams of protein, 1 scoop, like something like that. I think it'll probably do you more benefit than not. And even with this fasting thing, I don't even necessarily think that, let's say you're doing like a traditional 16-8, so you're eating from 12 in the afternoon to say 8 in the evening. I don't even think having that cal bar, that no-cal bar, or a protein shake at 10 in the morning, it's 120 cal. I mean, it's going to somewhat break your fast, but it's not like eating a big meal of like sugar. You know what I mean? I wouldn't worry about it at all. Okay. Also, I've been eating 2,200 calories a day now, and I said, oh, that's great. So your metabolism, you really adjusted to it. Plus, you're a young guy. The hormones are good in your system. You're working out. You're doing great. I love it. That's great. But keep tracking everything, and then you'll see, right? You'll maybe at 2,200 calories is your equilibrium now, and that's how you maintain your ideal weight. Okay, Hamid, perfect. Thank you so much. I'll transition to 2 meals a day. Great. And I'll get my ideal body fat and probably stay in ketosis. Sounds great, Hamid. Try it. I think it's going to be a good thing for you, for sure. Okay. Last year today, I was 200 pounds. Wow, that's incredible. You lost 50 pounds over the year, Nicholas. I'm so happy for you. Wonderful. Because I'm assuming this is Susan. As for collagen, is the powder just as good like Vital Proteins? I think Vital Proteins is a good brand. I've used them. That's my son's go-to brand. He loves Vital Protein. The only, like I said in the past, okay, maybe you saying that, comparing that to bone broth, I think it's probably just as good. I guess bone broth is just a little bit more of like an unprocessed natural form, and then you got the relaxation effect of like slowly drinking the bone broth and all that, whereas you just throw down a collagen protein shake and you may not get the satisfaction, but the actual amino acid profile is very similar between the two. I think Vital Protein is a really good brand. I've been buying lately the the same brand which I like so much, Health of Life, because they put a little bit of probiotics in there in the collagen powder as well too. The only thing to always be conscious of when it comes to collagen though is that it's not a complete protein. It's missing one of the non-essential amino acids, tryptophan. Tryptophan is the one that when you eat turkey, it's high, it puts you to sleep. So even whenever I take collagen, I always like to make it a complete protein by throwing a little bit of something in it. I just literally may even just take a little bit of tryptophan, because I have tryptophan as a separate supplement. But I generally, when I take collagen, I'm generally mixing it with other proteins, more complete proteins, like a little bit of whey, or maybe I'll take a little bit of hemp seed powder, just a little bit. Just want a little bit of tryptophan just to complete that protein. But truthfully, if you're eating complete proteins later in the day or earlier in the day, it's still fun to just go straight collagen, in my opinion. Okay. Hey, Gwen, thanks for showing up. I'm glad you showed up. I felt bad because I wasn't sure what I was doing today. So normally, that's going to be my new thing too. I'm going to announce this, have a steady time. So I'm glad people are showing up. This is great. Now, Gwen's here all the time too. Petite gal. Oh, petite gal is pretty funny. Can I eat a whole protein bar? Yes, of course you can. That's my problem. I can eat too much. Yes, you can definitely. I think you can, Gwen. I mean, just think. Those Quest bars, 180 calories, that's nothing. No cal bar, 210. I think you definitely can. And just think, and you're getting 20, 25 grams of protein in those bars. If you wanted to get 20, 25 grams of protein from another source, the calories would probably be higher, because protein comes with fat, right? Like if you're eating nuts, or you're eating like even steak, or unless it's a really, really lean type meat, like chicken thighs, the calories would probably be so much higher than a bar like that. Okay, this is Nicholas again. I've got these protein pots, 23 grams of protein, 160 cal. Oh, that's great. I'm not even sure what big pots. That's pots. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. But 23 grams of protein for 167 calories, I think is great. I mean, that's a great ratio. I actually don't fast as extreme as I did last year. I haven't gone 48 hours fast since October last year. That's great. That's perfect. Okay. This is Gwen. I wasn't asking. I know I can eat a whole thing. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so let's get back to this. Let's talk about like a nice midday routine that you can do. Okay, this is what I do, and I know you might not be able to do this, but you can actually do this workout in the morning. You can do it in the evening. But I love those midday workouts. Like even if you're working and you can maybe get an hour off for lunch, it's a great time to get a workout in, I think. And then you can even just have a little meal right afterwards. So I personally do my workout around 12:30. I just feel the best then. See, I can walk in the morning. But me personally, I don't know how my clients do, and sometimes the people I've trained at 6 in the morning, I can't work out early in the morning. I'm just not, my body doesn't feel it. I'm great like midday. And this is something that I'm really going to stick to now that I'm older. I'd say the hardest thing I find for most people is to just lose that concept like harder is better and longer is better. It really isn't. It all comes down to quality. Most people can't work out for more than 60 minutes, especially when it comes to resistance training, and keep their mental concentration. Even studies have shown that even testosterone and hormone levels go down if you start training beyond 60 minutes. So that's going to be a hard rule for me. And I've struggled with this because I like to work out longer than 60 minutes. But I'm going to just keep my workouts, especially when it comes to resistance training. I'll jump back to the questions in a second, Nicholas. In 60 minutes or less. And I think that's a good rule. And I think you can go much less. You can get a wonderful workout in 20, 30 minutes of resistance training. I think 45 minutes to me is somewhat of the magic number. I limit myself to 60 minutes because even part of my workout, you're going to see, I'm doing mobility movement. I'm doing some like warm up and cool downs that just take a little bit of time, but they're like really, really easy. And another thing that I find, especially if you're an older person like me, I really think for everyone, when you're really looking at the research, and this is getting popularized now, you can put on muscle at pretty much any rep range, from 1 rep to say 50 repetitions. You really can. And I've always felt that way, but for years and years the research was, and experts were always saying that, no, for muscle hypertrophy, you got to be in that 8 to 12 range. For strength, you want to be 1 to 3 repetitions. For endurance, you want to be higher. And it seems like it really comes down to just like how effort. Like if you're working hard on a 30 rep set, or relatively hard on a 30 rep set, or if you're working hard doing 8 reps, you can still get the same end result, especially when it comes to hypertrophy. No doubt about it. So I have found, since my joints, my elbows, my knees, my back, I'm banged up from, riding. Like I think I told you guys, I rode like dirt bikes, motorcycles as a kid, jumping all over the place. I surfed all over the world. I skateboarded everywhere. I snowboarded. I did everything. I've broken bones. I've got herniated disc, a bad knee. And I find that I like lifting light or moderate to light weights 90% of the time. In a high rep range, I like that 20 reps. I generally rarely go below 15 reps anymore. I'll do 30 reps a lot of the times too. I like a relatively continuous tension type movement, meaning that, for example, I don't really lock out. Once I put tension on the muscle, the desired muscle or group of muscles I'm working, I just close the muscle down and keep the tension on. And that's something I'm going to be doing in 2023. I'm going to show you guys some specific exercises, some movements that I do. And I do like mostly basic movements, no doubt about it. And that's the type of training that I would do when I do my resistance training. So I take my walk in the morning and then I do these resistance training, 60 minutes or less in the middle of the day. And I generally split things up. Like I may do upper body one day, like chest, back, shoulders, and arms. I may do like lower body the best I can with my knee, with maybe core work and mobility movement. Mobility movement, just easy movement, like lubricating the joints. And then I may slide in. Sometimes instead of doing resistance training, I may do those short, high intensity aerobic type workouts for 20 minutes and then do a little core afterwards. And so I do mostly my resistance training midday. Let me catch up on some of these questions because I know people, they're rolling in. Okay, let's see, Nicholas. Okay. Ever since I lost the weight, I pay attention to labels, and I found that in one garlic bread roll, there were 900 calories. I know. I was shocked for how little. I know. It's really incredible. That's the thing. When most people, say, and this is, this happened to me hundreds of times over the years because I've been training people 35 years, maybe longer, analyzing diets. When most people say, Mike, I'm only eating 1,200 calories and I'm not losing weight. I mean, it could be true in some instances. Maybe there's something going on with the person's thyroid. Maybe they have yo-yo dieted for decades and their metabolism is somewhat over-exaggerated with the metabolic adaptation, this and that. But I would say in 90% of the time, most people are eating way more than they think. And it may not even be their fault, because sometimes when you look at a label and it even says 900 calories, maybe it's 1,200 calories. I mean, it's so hard to say, but that's why I do say at one point in your life, in your weight loss journey, even if you don't want to count calories all the time, you got to take 2 weeks, a month, and really enter all your food into like a MyFitnessPal, a Chronometer, or if you want to take the time to look it up. Years ago, we used to look it up in books, and just get an idea of how many calories you're eating every single day. Kind of know what your baseline is, like when you're at equilibrium. Like it seems like Nicholas, 2,200 calories, he seems to be maintaining 149 pounds. That's a good thing to know. And I like that. That makes sense to me because my general rule is 10 times your body weight. So that would be 1,500 calories for Nicholas is a good calorie deficit to be in. And then you add 500 to 750 calories on top of that. Some people would say 15 times your body weight. That's going to be your equilibrium. And it seems like exactly what's happening with Nicholas. But you have to track everything, at least for a few weeks, just so you have a general idea of how much you're eating. Let's see, Hamid. Okay, do you think it matters when I do my fasted cardio in terms of fat burning, AM versus PM, closer to the time I eat? Let's say 4 hours before I eat versus 20 hours after. I probably wouldn't worry about that too much. I would just gonna guess that if you're doing it in the AM and you're fasted, right, as opposed to waiting in the evening when you're fasted, you're probably gonna have a little bit more energy because you're not in a fasted state for as long. Obviously, the longer you're in a fasted state, most likely, the more fat you're going to burn. But the fact that you're so fat adapted and you're in ketosis all the time, and you're burning fat like crazy. I would say it would be just a trade-off on effort. Like what do you think you can get a better workout? Like, what's the goal of that aerobic session? If your aerobic session, like you're saying, is purely just for fat burning, probably the longer the better, probably. But if your goal is to increase your VO2 max or just to have a good, strong, healthy heart, then I would do whatever you would have to do so you can maybe increase the intensity of it, and you can just mix it up. And just experiment. I can't give you a concrete answer on that. Fasted cardio being steady state. Yeah, steady state. I like steady state fasted cardio. I love it. I think it's great. And I personally do that in my first walk in the morning, but it's really easy, So I would fool around and experiment with it. Let's see what we got here. Oh, Jeff, hey, thanks for showing up, Jeff. Jeff, I'm so glad he texted me. He didn't text me. He left a comment wanting to know if we were live streaming today, so I'm glad he showed up. So it's better to have a time limit for each set and just do how many reps you can do at that time. You can, there's so many different ways of doing that. I do like that. Like, for example, you can say you want to do, say, a 70-second set. And then you can use, I do also like to use a low rep cadence. I should have explained that a little better. If I'm doing a very low rep cadence, very slow rep cadence, let's say I'm doing literally 3 seconds concentric, so 1 1000, 2 1000, 3, and then I'm going down for 5 with a 1 second pause on the bottom. That's like a 9-second repetition. So if I did 10 reps, that's a 90-second set. That's a relatively long time under load. So sometimes instead of me doing, like I'm saying, 15, 20 reps, which would take me, say, 70, 80 seconds, I may say, okay, I'm going to use an excessively slow rep cadence this set, or maybe just for today, but I'm only going to do 10 repetitions. So I understand what you're saying. Time under load, some people say time under tension is a big factor too. But keeping in mind, the weight would be relatively light. So in my mind, slow rep cadence with a longer time under load with lighter weights is very similar to doing, say, a 20 rep set with, say, just a 2 or 3 second rep cadence. So I think both are good, but I like how you're thinking. I like the idea of looking at how long does every set last in time. I think that's a great way of training too. There's so many different ways, right? I think that's a great way of doing it. Let's see, Chris got, okay, my routine, okay, this is Chris. Break my fast 10 a.m. with a bone broth. It sounds good. Then at 11 a.m. I drink a cup of amino acid powder. Whoa, cool. I love that too. With my creatine, L-glutamine all together. That sounds great, Chris. I love it. I mean, glutamine is an important amino acid for recovery and all that. 12, my first meal, 2 protein. 12 o'clock, my first meal, 2 protein drinks, 5 p.m. my last meal. I love it. Chris, you know, like I'm saying, I've said this before, we think alike. I'm very similar to that. I love it. I think it's a great routine. Really like it. Okay, Nicholas. From my experience, when I was 216 pounds, I would recommend to just walk for exercise in a fasted state. Aerobic cardio is hard to do when you're 200 pounds, so I wouldn't bother. Okay, I hear you there. I hear you. Okay, hey, where's this coming from, this comment? Let's see, maybe you too. Okay, E. Hey, Mike, I'm trying to break the record for most push-ups in 1 hour. Whoa. On knuckles, ooh, heavy duty. I keep getting stuck at 1900. Oh my God, I can't break it. The goal is 2200. Any tips? You know, I would. It would be hard to say. I would like to, be curious to know, like, what else are you doing that could be interfering with your recovery? The whole thing is maybe it's really hard to say. I probably wouldn't do it every day. If you're doing it every day, like trying to keep on like doing your push-ups every day, like when you work out every day, like the neuromuscular, the sequencing, it's so ingrained that it helps recruit muscle cells to contract. But maybe you need more recovery between doing it. Maybe you want to do it every other day, once every 3 days, kind of experiment with that. But I mean, you're off the charts with 1900. I mean, you're like superhuman. I've never done anything like that, so I don't want to give you the wrong advice. I guess you're doing it more as not for development. Obviously you must be a muscular guy, but you're doing it more just to obtain this goal, like a naval SEAL or something, of like 2200 push-ups. Really impressive, but I can't say that I can give you like concrete advice for that. I just would fool around with recovery. Like, what's the ideal amount of recovery you would need to improve for the next push-up session? Well, let's see what we got here. Oh, Biff, let's see what we got. Okay. How would you recommend someone splitting up kickboxing, jiu-jitsu training, and weights throughout the week? Still recommend the 2 mat in the case. Oh, great. Weight is 245, aiming for 220. Still recommend the 2 mat in that case. I think you can do the 2 mat, but I would definitely do the protein shake if you're that active. Jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, they're both like very demanding sports. I can't say that I'm really an expert in either of them. Jiu-jitsu I've never done. I know people love it. I have a buddy of mine who's like, he shows up here sometime. He's like a 4th degree at Taekwondo, Hapkido, jiu-jitsu guy. He's in incredible shape. Kickboxing too. I would say I don't know how old you are, Biff, but if your joints and your body feels good, I just would go with, whatever feels good for you. It's hard for me to give you a complete answer. When it comes to the weights, like you don't want to do anything in pain. Like I'm going to be talking about that coming up. I overtrained for 20 years, maybe longer. I trained in pain. It's hard for me to give you a concrete answer. I think if you're doing kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, probably 2 days a week of resistance training split up. Like say you're doing Monday, Thursday, just full body. You're getting so much work as kickboxing and jiu-jitsu. I would just do really, really like basic movements with like you can literally do just the basic three, the big three, like squat, bench, and deadlift. You know what I mean? Like that, maybe 3 sets of each twice a week, because you're getting everything with jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. Just to keep you really strong and keep the muscle mass on. You can literally do that twice a week, spend 40 minutes in the gym, just squat, bench, and deadlift. I know it sounds simple, but it'd probably be good if you'd be a powerhouse. And I'm sure you are already, doing what you're doing. Also, I started fasting. Thank you. Oh, never felt better. That's great. I love hearing that. Let's see, Nicholas. Hey, Mike. I still kind of want to do a 48-hour fast every 2 months for the benefits of autophagy. Which true. I remember that I did that fast for 48 hours. My skin became really clean. You can do that, but what I would do in your case, since you don't want to lose weight, is maybe up your calories, a little bit for like a week or two. Instead of eating 2,200, go to 2,500. Do that for 2 weeks, and then if you want to do a 48-hour fast, do it. If you're doing it for health reasons like autophagy. If people don't know what autophagy is, it's just basically when the body recycles and like weaken damaged organelles. A lot of people feel that's really good for longevity, but for autophagy to really kick in, it's also somewhat of a never-ending process. I mean, you're getting some autophagy now anyway, Nicholas. It's just working out and just doing things like fasting just increases it a little bit more. So some people just fast just for autophagy, which is kind of a cool thing. Let's see, Hamid. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Can you discuss discipline and how to achieve my goals for this new year? Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of going to be talking about that all with these slides. I would just plan things out. Like say, I like those little dopamine hits for your daily goals, like easy, simple daily goals, then have weekly goals and monthly goals. But you seem to be, I don't know, Hamid, you seem to be a pretty disciplined guy with what you're doing. I'm sure you're pretty motivated. Hey, Alexandra, thank you so much for the super chat. This is great. I really appreciate it. Let's see what we got here. I'm thinking of doing home workouts, 20 minutes resistance, 20 minutes cardio, 5 days a week. Your thoughts? Okay, so 20 minutes resistance, 20 minutes cardio. I think that's a good thing to do. I would probably, it would depend on like the type of cardio you're doing and the type of resistance. Okay, meaning this. I think there's basically, I think my 2 favorite types of cardio, and you look relatively young, like a young gal in the picture. So you want to do 2 types of cardio. You want to do one type of cardio which is really good for increasing your VO2 max. That stands for your maximum oxygen consumption. That's what makes your cardiovascular system really strong. And those workouts should be relatively short, meaning that within your 20-minute cardio workout, you might want to warm up for 5 minutes and then do 1 minute relatively pretty hard at like a high heart rate, maybe 80-90% of your max heart rate. Take 220 minus your age. So if say you're 20, you want to get your heart rate up to maybe 185, 190, just for maybe 30 seconds. Then you want to rest for a minute to do that again. That workout could be relatively short. On a day when you did a high intensity aerobic workout like that, I don't think that would be a day that you would also want to do a hard resistance training workout. You may want that day to be like an easy resistance training workout. Maybe just do some of your core work, do your planks, do your more, the type of workout that wouldn't just exhaust you. And I would probably want you to do that high intensity cardio maybe a couple times a week. So 2 days a week for your 20-minute, say, hit high intensity aerobic workout. You may want to only train with your resistance for 20 minutes, maybe doing your planks, your core, just some light, easy work, and maybe doing some mobility movement. Work on your flexibility, maybe do some stretching, maybe twice a week, right? The other 3 days, when you're doing your aerobics, you can do a more like steady state, like base building, easy aerobics. Maybe you want to just get on the treadmill or bike, go maybe 60-70% of your max heart rate for 20 minutes, and then you'll still have energy to do your harder resistance training type workout, right? So think about it along the lines of that. So when you do your hard cardio, make the resistance easier, and when you're doing your harder resistance training, make the cardio easier, and just go back and forth. Or another way you can do it, you can split it up and do your resistance one day and your cardio the next. But I like that it seems like you're spending 40 minutes in the gym. I like that number. I like 5 days a week. I would do it like that. Hard resistance, easy cardio. Hard cardio, easy resistance. And work on your flexibility and mobility every single workout if you can. If you didn't understand that, you can DM me and I can, help you with that even more. I just keep asking questions too. But I appreciate the super chat and you showing up. I just got Nicholas. Sometimes when I wake up and weigh myself, I'm 147, and then I'll eat, drink, and eat. And that's how it's water retention. For sure on carbohydrates. Those fluctuations in weight, I can fluctuate 5-6 pounds in one day, literally. It has to do with how many carbs I'm eating and a little bit of sodium. So don't concern yourself with that at all. Okay, Biff, good. Thank you, sir. That's exactly what I was looking for. Weights 2 days. Full body sounds pretty much what I had in mind. That sounds good. I like that. Yeah, I think squat, bench, deadlift, or something along the... And when I mean squats, bench, deadlift, you don't got to even use barbells. You can do dumbbell benching. You can do, you can do your squats holding dumbbells, right? You don't necessarily have to do the big barbell movements if you don't want to. But I think 2 days a week with everything else you're doing would be great. Okay. Thanks. I'll let you know if I get it. You're right, doing it every day, going to try it less times a week and change it up. Oh, thanks. Thanks, E. That's it. Okay, this is Nicholas. It's hard for me to do cardio and resistance training on the same day. You know what? It is hard. But if you do it with that mindset, at the same time, effort, pace, I tend to prioritize days when I lift and days when I do cardio. I think both ways can work. But it's nice. I'm assuming with Alexandra, it's nice to get into that routine of going to the gym, or maybe you're doing it at home. Now you're doing it at home like 5 days a week, just working out. So if you want to do a nice 40-minute workout, I think you can do both on the same day, for sure. And then you'll want to change things up eventually too and experiment with different things. Okay, so let's talk about the rest of this. So the rate training I'm doing, like I said, it's that high rep type training. Like Jeff pointed out, if you want to go with time under load and keep the repetitions lower, you can do that too, but you want to be a greater time under load. Okay, and this is a big thing, and I made a mark on this, is don't train in pain. Just keep that in mind. Don't ever do a movement, don't ever do an exercise that hurts. I made this mistake for 20 years, that no pain, no gain. I would ignore pain. Like I go snowboarding. One time I dislocated my shoulder, tore my labrum. I'm benching 275 pounds in pain for the next 6 months. I wound up in the doctor's office for an MRI on my shoulder. It says torn labrum, And I have to say, to this day, it's still something that I personally struggle with. Like I talked about this in a couple of other videos and live streams. I turned 60 this summer. I wanted to get in extra good shape for turning 60, and I just overdid it. I hurt my elbows. I got tendonitis in my elbows that come and go from just lifting weights and from sports and just handing people weights all day long for 40 years. And then my elbows were hurting me, and I just ignored it. And I trained through it. And to this day now, I turned 60 at the end of August, September, no, December. For the last 4 or 5 months, my elbows are still bothering me. It's affecting my training. They're starting to get better now. My left elbow feels pretty good. I still got a little bit in the right. So do not train in pain. That's like a golden rule for sure. And I made a note here, mobility movement, like I was telling Alexandra. It's important to keep your mobility, just move. Easy Tai Chi is amazing. Just easy movement type patterns after you. It's a great way to cool down from a workout. And then I made a note. I love the term, even though you want progressive resistance when you're doing resistance training or even cardio to improve your fitness level. Like you want to always make it, not always, but certain cycles throughout the year when you want to improve. Unfortunately, you have to just work harder or make the workout more difficult to make progress. But this is another thing that I've always struggled with, in that I never knew when to stop. And I find people who like to work out have this issue. They overtrain. And so I like this term micro progression, meaning that you can make the workout 1% harder, right? 0.5%. I mean, just a little bit more. And there's so many different ways to make a workout harder without necessarily lifting more weight, right? You can do more repetitions. You can do a greater time under load. You can rest less time between sets. Even though the research is mixed there sometimes. You can rest more between sets and then go a little heavier, right? Like the cardio. You know, if you're doing like back with Alexandra, if she has a treadmill at home, and let's say she's running at 5.5, 6 miles an hour, instead of running flat, you make a 1 degree incline. Just micro progress, and then stop. Meaning that decide for this time of the year I want to improve. You make these little incremental changes that make the workout a little bit higher. Maybe you do that for 8 weeks, and then you just kick back, go easy for a few weeks, and then start up again. And I always think micro progress. Don't make something 50% harder. Like if you're used to running at 6 miles per hour, which is a 10-minute mile, 30 minutes, don't say, okay, I'm running 6 miles today. It's going to lead to trouble. It is. And it's something that I struggle with. And even I have two types of clients generally that come to personal training. There are people who are overachievers who want to train at a higher level, and they'll come to my gym and call me and say, Mike, I want you to push me. But those are the people you got to really, calm down and really explain micro progression to them. And then there's the other people who just don't like to work out. So, they need a trainer. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so this is, I think, sorry, James, it took me a while to get to this, but this is like my general diet plan. So, like I said, I switched over to now early time restricted eating. That's a big thing, like the theme of this live stream, like things that I've learned in 2022. It works so well for me. I really like it. I'm going to stick with it. So, early time restricted eating, 16-8, 16-hour fasting every day, 2 meals a day with a protein shake, a protein bar. Every meal, this is key, prioritize protein and fiber. If you're eating a good amount of protein with your meal, I generally eat about 60 grams of protein per meal, and then also make sure I'm taking in a lot of fiber. It makes sure that I'm eating healthy, because to get the fiber, you got to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, and healthy foods like that. And that's my new thing that I've been talking to about people. I even did a short video on. I'm going to talk about a lot more this year. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible to get people to eat. And I have to say, if you just keep an eye on calories, right, then eat an adequate amount of protein and an adequate amount of fiber, you're going to be eating perfect. If you want to lose weight, multiply your body weight by 10. If you want to maintain your weight, multiply your body weight by 15. Those are maintenance calories. Always eat an adequate amount of protein. Always eat an adequate amount of fiber. So when you want to lose weight, you're going to probably cut back on the carbs and maybe even the fats too, which is great. And for me, this year, this is a little bit of a change. I've been doing this the last couple of months. I've been eating a little bit more carbohydrates. I generally used to keep my carbs at about 100 grams, but now I kind of popped it up a little bit, and I feel a little bit more better. I get a better pump in the gym, which is great. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. So I'll just quickly go over how I do this. I feel like I got stuck on some of the other slides a little too long. First meal, excuse me. First meal post-workout, right after I work out at 12:30. So I'll say maybe 1:30 or so. I'm having my first meal, 60 grams of protein. Every 4 ounces of chicken, fish, and meat's about 25 grams. So maybe I'll have a nice 8-ounce piece of salmon or sardines. I'm going to give you some examples in the next slide. And then I have tons of vegetables. I eat an arugula salad. I'll have tons of vegetables, a couple of fruits every single day. I do a very similar thing for dinner. Now I'm having my dinner earlier. When I wasn't doing early time restricted eating, I may be done eating at 8 o'clock. Now I try to be done eating like 6:30 or 7. And then after that, no calories. I like it. I'm sleeping better. My food is digested. I go right to sleep. Feels great. Sometimes I'll drink herbal teas at night, which I really do like. And let me give you some examples of my meals. If this might be really good for Alexandra, because I haven't seen her here. Okay, Alexandra. She's 27. Also, I want to train first thing in the morning before going to work with the stationary back and exercise mat and a few dumbbells. I think that's great. See, that you could do, Alexandra, in a fasted state if it's first thing in the morning, and then have your meal right after that if you feel okay with that. If not, you may want to have an intra-workout protein shake, like take a whey protein isolate. I like that Garden of Life. 1 scoop, 120 calories, give you about 25 grams of protein. It'll fuel the workout. But I love that routine. I think it's great. And it's nice to do it first thing in the morning if you can, because you got it done. You did it, right? You can go enjoy your day, put you in a good mood, which is wonderful. That's great. Okay, what are your thoughts when it comes to fasting? Fasting in the morning and sleeping full with protein before bed, or eating earlier in the day. going to bed empty stomach. I like, because I've done a lot of talking about this, Biff, and I think it is better. I know bodybuilders and some powerlifters, they'll do a protein shake right before bed for protein synthesis, all that, but I think it could affect your sleep. I think it's better off taking in your calories earlier in the day, for sure. And I mean, you might be a little new to a lot of things I talk about, but this is my schedule that I like the best. Early time restricted eating. 10 o'clock, I have my protein bar. I want to take in protein earlier in the day. Then I have my first meal of the day, which is high in protein, high in fiber, just really good, healthy eating. You're going to see some of the pictures right after I work out, which it'll be maybe 1:30. Have dinner maybe 6:30. Done, no calories after that. I want to digest my food, circadian rhythm, all that type of stuff. So it's good to eat the same times during the day too for your circadian rhythm. I like to go to sleep on an empty stomach, but I'm probably older than you too. Maybe your digestion is a little bit better than mine. And I think that's my favorite way of doing it. And here are some examples of what I'm talking about. This is what I mean by like perfect eating. So it's hard to tell because these are those big Italian dishes. This is probably a 10-ounce piece of salmon. We're talking 60, 70 grams of protein right there. I took extra servings of this, but this is the first serving of it. I didn't increase the meat, but this is like spinach and some golden beets. I try to pick 2 different colored vegetables, different vitamins, different minerals, different nutrients. And this is what I mean by high protein, high fiber eating. You can't go wrong when you eat like this. This should be the cornerstone of your diet. I got a bunch of other examples. Let me show you some of the other ones. I love this too. This is literally, I think I made a whole pound of shrimp here, maybe 100 grams of protein, maybe a little too high in the protein. And then I made an arugula salad. Like I said, I love arugula, naturally high in nitrates, which convert to nitric oxide. I got some onions in there. I cut up some cherries. I got extra virgin olive oil. And I'm a big believer in vinegar. Like balsamic vinegar, similar to apple cider vinegar, is naturally high in acetic acid. And acetic acid helps control blood sugar post-meal. So I didn't mention that, but a lot of times maybe before a meal, especially if it's a little bit higher on the carb side, like if I'm eating sweet potatoes or maybe rice or something like that, I'll do a tablespoon or 2 of apple cider vinegar and water. I'll drink that before the meal. Helps me control blood sugar post-meal. And it's just like a cool thing. My son's really into these ginger shots. He bought me a ginger shot that day. It's good and it kind of burns when it goes down, but it's just was fun. My son's a great runner. He's a collegiate runner. This is last year in college. Oh my God, I cannot believe it. The pandemic kind of messed up all the track meets, but he's in good shape. He's going to be running really good this year. I cannot wait to go to all these meets this year. There's another thing I love, buffalo chili, lean chili. I've done videos on how to make this chili. It's like my famous buffalo chili recipe. I must get 50, 60 grams of protein there. I make it very like lean buffalo. I make it with a lot of onions and peppers and things like that. And I always want to get my fiber even with that. So I got my avocado, my strawberries. And this is what I mean by just like absolutely perfect eating. This is going to have 2 meals. Let's see. Chris has got a question here. Let me see. Thank you for doing these lives. I really look up to you, and you have made a great impact on my life. Whoa, I love that. Thanks so much, Mike. Oh, Chris, I really appreciate it. Because I have to say, my channel still is a small channel, and I feel like, YouTube, I'm still struggling a little bit on YouTube to really, for my channel to take off. It seems like TikTok, I didn't even put much effort into TikTok, and I hit like 30,000 subscribers like in a few weeks. But I'm really going to work on it, Chris. But your comments like that, and guys like you and gals too, it keeps me wanting to do this, And so I'm not stopping. I'm really going to make a real effort this year to really grow the channel and to really get it going. But I really appreciate that, Chris. You're always leaving me such wonderful, nice comments. I think my mother saw one of your comments. She said, "Oh, he's such a nice man, Chris." I really appreciate it, Chris. That's so nice. And this is an example like when I'm doing too mad. And I don't want to mislead you. I'll probably, even in addition to this, I always increase the vegetables, but I'm only taking 1 picture. So this was like my first meal. First of all, like I had my, I don't remember what day this is. This is probably from a couple of months ago. I had my protein shake or no-cal protein bar in the morning. Got my 25 grams of protein there, right? Now my first meal, this is right after I work out, had a can of sardines. I love sardines, talk about it all the time. High in loads of omega-3 fatty acids, good for brain health, good for reducing inflammation. Plus sardines, you're eating the skin, you're eating the bones, you're getting the connective tissue. High in calcium, great complete source of protein. Plus they're packed in extra virgin olive oil, so I'm getting those good monounsaturated fats. That's about 25 grams of protein there. I want to get to 60. So I know this because we do this all the time. This must have been leftover chicken thighs from the night before, another 5-6 ounces. So that got me right up to my 60 grams of protein right there. This is a whole avocado. Avocados, 16, 17 grams of fiber in one avocado. So I got my 16, 17 grams of fiber in my no-cal protein bar, right? I also had that avocado that gets me up to like about 35 grams of carbs already without the strawberries, right? And without my vegetables for the evening. I must have been at 45 grams of carbs a day. And sometimes, even though I don't show it, I might have an apple right after this for dessert. Sometimes I'll even have, if I feel like the meal is a little light on protein, I might do a Greek yogurt, which is only like 80 calories, 15 grams of protein, throw a tablespoon of ground flaxseed and maybe a little bit of fruit on top for the protein and the fiber. Then for dinner, I'm not even sure what this is. It looks like Arctic chard to me. We eat a lot of Arctic chard or salmon. You know, there's high omega-3 fishes. This is like a pescatarian-ish day, but with some chicken, right? String beans, tomato, like I think this is a tomato. I'm not sure what else. It's a cucumber or maybe a little bit of spinach salad. This is how you have to eat. You don't have to eat this way, but this is my style of what I consider like perfect eating. Protein, keeping calories under control, high fiber. You can't go wrong. Got a couple of other examples here. I like this too because I always talk about eating fermented foods. I do try to eat fermented foods on a regular basis, if not every day, almost every day. So you notice here I have a whole bunch of sauerkraut. Feeds the good bacteria in your stomach, great. A little bit of just like berry medley, like raspberries, blackberries, low sugar, super healthy fruit. Once again with the sardines, for me, always see how this can wasn't enough, 25 grams, I want my 50, 60. So I also added maybe 5 ounces of smoked salmon, you know, which is so good. My classic avocado, I eat an avocado every single day, you know, which is great. Let's see with Juicy, what Nicholas. In comparison to if I increase my heart rate when I'm not in a fasted state. I'm not sure what you mean by Nicholas. Maybe I missed some of your other questions. I'll go back to that in a second. Let's see what Jeff's got. Okay. This is Jeff. I'm trying to cut as much fat as I can before my tennis season starts again in March. So I'm back on the 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂 steak eggs diet, which I had the most success with, but I do mix in some salad. That sounds good. So people don't know what Jeff's talking about. Vince Giralda, am I pronouncing his name by Giranda? I always pronounced his name wrong. He was probably some people would say the first personal trainer like maybe ever. Now, he was the guy that had, I think his gym, was it in California, right around Venice Beach? I'm not sure, but it could be. He was like a famous, like, I don't even know if you'd call him a personal trainer, but he would train like famous bodybuilders, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, all the famous bodybuilders. He was just like a go-to guru when it comes to training these bodybuilders. And he was like way ahead of his time, really interesting guy. He had all these different rules of how to train. And he had these kind of somewhat extreme type diets. He thinks they work just as good as taking enhancements. Like instead of taking steroids, he would have people, okay, eat 24 eggs a day, like extreme with cream in it. And one of his classic go-to diets, which is a little bit carnivore-ish, which pretty much is just eat steak and eggs, you know, like 2-3 times a day. Like super high protein, you know, quality fat. I've done it, you know, as a kid I did it. I mean, no question about it, it works. It's like a carnivore diet. But I do like Jeff. Jeff is also adding some salads, which is good. So you're getting some fiber, a little electrolytes, which I think is good. So Jeff is doing this in the right way in that I wouldn't do this as a long-term diet, but I think it is a good short-term strategy. Like I know he's an avid tennis player, a great tennis player. So he maybe do it for a couple of months, drop some body fat for tennis season. Well, I think it's fine. I think that's a good thing to do. Okay, so then we got back. See, this is another, like, I think, perfect meal. I probably had this post-workout, but it could have been a dinner. So I got my arugula salad. I did a little bit of, like, this is a filet mignon. This is probably lunch because I probably had leftover filet mignon from dinner. You know, I wanted more protein, so I also cut up a couple of hard-boiled eggs. Got my strawberries, got my avocado, you know, extra virgin olive oil, my balsamic vinegar. You know, the perfect. I eat this salads like this a lot. This is one of my go-to, you know, type lunches, which I really do like. Let's see what Alexander just got. Okay, when you speak about eating TUMAD and a protein shake when doing 18-6 intermittent fasting, does the protein shake also need to be taken in the feeding window? If you really want to stick to it, like traditionally, I would say yes, and that's typically how I do it. But in your case, I'm not sure what your goals are. I don't think it's going to mess you up because I know you want a little bit of protein maybe before that workout or as an intra-workout shake. And plus, if you're taking it then the protein shake, you're going to be burning, calories and carbohydrates and everything during the workout. It'll probably do you more benefit than not than taking that protein shake. Plus, I find gals just don't eat enough protein. Most people don't eat enough protein in general. If you know my formula for protein, there's a couple of formulas I use. One formula would be, the best formula would be 0.9 times your lean body weight for ideal amount of grams of protein. But it's hard to know what your body weight is. If you can just times your body weight by, let's say, 0.7 for grams of protein. So let's just say if you're 120 pounds, taking like 80 grams of protein a day. So one protein shake would give you 25 grams of protein, and then you just need like 30, two like maybe 5-ounce portions of animal protein for lunch and for dinner, something like that. And I think you'll do really, really well. But if you're really looking for the benefits of being in a fasted state, then you might want to just take in your protein shake or protein bar within your 8-hour eating window. But at 27, you're a young gal, you look really healthy in the picture. I'd probably rather you just do the protein shake, take in that extra 120 calories, and then do your 2 MAD, and not worry too much about the 18-6. Just don't do the snacking and all that. Elizabeth, thank you for all your live Q&As and such. I have also tried to tune in when I can. I appreciate it, Biff. I really appreciate it. Thanks for showing up. This is Nick. Okay. Back when you talked about no-cal bars, you mentioned that a lot of the carb content was fiber. Why is that important, and what does that mean that net carb content is low? Sorry to go. No problem. I just think it's somewhat debatable, but I think fiber really is a good thing when you look at the studies. I know if you talk to someone like Paul Saladino, he's the doctor who wrote the carnivore code, he'll pick some studies that say, nah, I don't think you need fiber, it causes bloating, this and that. But I think when you look at the studies, and in my personal experience and just from working with people, I do it for 2 reasons, or 2 or 3 reasons. One reason is when I tell someone to say eat 35 grams of fiber a day, it's going to guarantee to me that they're eating healthy food, meaning that they're eating vegetables, they're eating some fruits, they're eating a lot of salads. If I don't say that and just tell someone, eat protein and keep your calories in control, and then backfill your calories with anything you want, I still think people can lose weight and be healthy, but they're not going to be getting the vitamins and minerals and nutrients, I don't think. But when you increase the fiber, it makes you eat vegetables and fruits and really healthy food. So that's one reason. Second thing is, I think if you look at the research, fiber is very satisfying, has a high satiety along with the protein, right? It's good. It feeds the good bacteria in your stomach. It keeps the digestive system regular. I think there's a lot of benefit to soluble and insoluble fiber. But fiber does have some calories, even though it's confusing. Like soluble fiber can have a couple of calories per gram. So it can be a little confusing, because sometimes when you're calculating the net carbs, right? So net carbs is total carbs minus fiber. A lot of people don't count that as calories. It could be a little confusing. But like some people, for example, when we're talking about Amid when he was going into ketosis, some people say, oh, I'm not going to eat more than 50 grams of carbs a day. Is that net carbs or regular carbs? I know it could be a little bit confusing, but I like to look at net carbs more. Right? And I generally don't count fiber as calories too much, because it's unpredictable how many calories you're really getting when you're eating fiber. But I think fiber is great for your body, great for your digestive system, great for long-term health to eat a good amount of fiber. I must eat 45, 50 grams of fiber every day. I would, like most people, eating a minimum of 30. It just makes sure it makes it simpler for me. Instead of me telling people eat this specific thing, if I just say keep an eye on calories, make sure you eat an adequate amount of protein, and keep your fiber content up. You can't eat bad food because you're going to go too high in calories, right? So if you keep an eye on protein and fiber, it just guarantees that you're eating good. It's just a simple way of doing it. And if you look at all these meals that I keep on bringing here, and you'll see it, right? Like avocado, super high fiber food, 17 grams of fiber there, right? High in those healthy monounsaturated fats. Now we get some strawberries again. If you see it, most of my fruits are berries. It's almost a free food strawberry. Low in sugar, high in fiber, some antioxidants, things like that. And then we must have about 8-10 ounces of chicken right here. Just perfect eating. All right, I hope that answered it for you, Nick. Let's see. Hey, Joy, thanks for showing up. Joy shows up all the time. I appreciate it. How you doing? Thanks for showing up. Happy New Year, Joy. Okay, Nicholas. Okay, sorry, Nicholas. I may miss some of your other questions. Mike, when I'm in a fasted state in the morning, I start doing push-ups in a fasted state or just increasing my heart rate in a fasted state. Okay, I have the sharp pain in the arm. What does that mean? You know, Nicholas, I'm not sure about that. I don't want to be like, I'm not a doctor. You know, actually, I'm certified by the American College of Sports Medicine as an exercise physiologist, and I have undergraduate degrees and all this type of stuff. But, you know, truth, I know you said this before a little bit. Obviously, if you're at all concerned about it, even 1% concerned, talk. I know you're a young guy. Talk about it with your parents. Talk to your pediatrician about it. I'm going to guess it's probably just a muscular thing that you're feeling in your arm. Maybe slow down with your repetitions. But if it persists, if you have any shortness of breath, any lightheadedness, any dizziness, you're saying your heart rate's going up, which is a normal thing from doing a push-up. But if your heart rate goes up and doesn't come down, that's something that you might want to look into. But if this is a consistent thing with you, I would talk about it with your parents and a doctor. But you seem super healthy to me, so I don't want you to get nervous. But mention it to your doctor and see what they say. He or she says. Okay, in comparison to if my heart rate is in a... Okay, when, you know, maybe it's just more difficult when you're in a fasted state because you don't have the fuel in your system. That's what we were talking about with Alexander and even with Biff with the training. Should you do a fasting or not? Whenever you're training in a fasted state, it is going to be harder. So it might make your heart rate work a little bit more at the same level of intensity. So it could just be that. But if you're getting pain, don't ignore it. Like, you know, run it by your parents, run it by a doctor for sure. Okay, E again. Okay, what's your take on taking creatine? Should you load up on it for a week before dropping it? I think creatine is safe. I think it definitely works. It's probably the most well-studied supplement for muscle building, strength, all that. I think there's a lot of benefits to it. Even Andrew Huberman, he takes 5 grams every day for years. There's even cognitive benefits to it. I don't think you have to load. I would just do probably 5 grams a day. I mean, years ago they say take 20 grams. You could take 20 grams a day. It may upset your stomach a little bit for 4 or 5 days if you instantly want to load your muscles. But if you just took 5 grams a day, you know, within a couple of weeks, your muscles will be full. It works. There's no question about it. You're going to gain a little weight, though. It'll look like muscle weight because you're going to volumize the muscle cell. You know, the more creatine you store, just like carbohydrates, glycogen, and volumizes the muscle cell. But you're going to be stronger. Good for protein synthesis. I even feel like I get cognitive benefits when I take it. I just was taking it. I just stopped. Literally, today's Sunday. I think I stopped on Friday. So I'll probably go to the gym Monday, Tuesday. I'll probably be 3-4 pounds lighter. But I like creatine. Some people never go off it. I like to cycle on and off though. But I think it's a great supplement. Great explanation on fiber, Nick. I'll thank Nick. I really appreciate it. That's cool. Okay, so I'll talk about now. This is my evening. I guess I've been talking about this, so you know what I did in the afternoon. So this is another thing that I love, and this goes back to health habits. I've been doing this. Now, there are some days, like the perfect day for me, but this is if I'm not working, where I can walk in the morning, and I walk along the Hudson River in New York. I don't know if you know in New York, we got the big river, you know, west. If I can be walking and see the sun rise and get the natural daylight circadian rhythm, it's like incredible. And then if I can also, every now and then I get a day like this, and it's like the perfect day for me. If I can walk along the Hudson River and watch the sun set, you can't, I mean, can you get a better day than that? It's incredible. But what I've been doing lately is that I do my morning, and I've also been trying to just sneak in, even if it's just a 20 or 30-minute walk right before it gets dark. I just love it. Great for my circadian rhythm. It's like meditating when I'm moving. You know, I just love it. So around 4:30, right before it gets dark. And lately in New York now, it's been getting dark around 4:45. So if I can get out there around 4 p.m., take a nice, comfortable walk, love it. Right? And this is another thing that I do. I do like to drink wine. I'm Italian, whatever. I like Italian wine. I like even like French wine. Like I like table wine, like, you know, Montepulciano, Costarone, things like that. But I you know, alcohol, in my opinion, is not good for you. I find it does relax me a little bit. I like to have a glass of wine, and sometimes I used to have a glass of wine like after dinner, and I find that could actually, there is calories in wine, and there's not the opportunity, of course, for your body will process the toxicity of the wine before anything else. So what I find now is that if I want to have a glass of wine, and I'm really a moderate drinker, I will have it before dinner, and it makes all the difference. So maybe I get back in my walk, I start doing my social media stuff and start planning what videos I want to make, this and that, and I'll have a glass of red wine right before dinner, you know, 80, 100 calories. And then maybe I'll finish the glass of wine during dinner as opposed to having it after. So it kind of shortens my eating window. I get to process that liquor, that alcohol. And I try to go with lower alcohol type wines. Like I try not to go over 13.5%. It's amazing how wine could vary. You can get a 15% glass of wine, or you can get a glass of wine with like 12.5, 13%. I like those lower alcohol type wines. And then I feel like it doesn't affect my sleep, and I enjoy having like one glass of wine, which is great. And that's the big change I made too. Okay, I do most of my social media work early in the evenings, which I'm totally going to change in 2023. I'm going to really, I think I have another slide on this. I'm going to really come up with a content calendar. I think this is a good thing to do, just with those little dopamine hits I'm talking about with these short-term daily goals. Besides doing that, I am going to start mapping out my weeks and my months. And I've been reluctant to do this for years because I never wanted to commit to it. Even with my work schedule at the gym, I'm switching over to a monthly billing schedule with everyone where we map out the whole month in advance. They're going to prepay the month. I never ever wanted to do that because I always wanted the flexibility of, say, I want to go run and see my kids at school or something like that. But I'm going to stick to a schedule, and I'm really going to do it this year. And then also sleep, right? Key for health. You got to sleep 7-8 hours a night, minimum 7. If you can, sometimes I'll sleep 9 hours. And what's really helped me with that is having that glass of wine earlier, the circadian rhythm of getting light in the morning, getting light outside. The more light you get during the day, the better you'll sleep at night. And also, I really put my phone away now. This has made a tremendous difference for me because I'm always checking, want to answer someone's comment. I want to see, did I get a new subscriber? I'm on all these social media platforms. I can easily be on my phone till midnight or until I go to sleep. But at 8 o'clock, I take my phone and I put it in my bedroom. And then I do sometimes take a really quick look just to see if anyone cancel on me. So say my 7 o'clock in the morning would cancel, then I know I can do what I want in the morning and don't have to hustle over to the gym. I'll take a quick look, and then that's it. And that's made a tremendous difference. That's a habit I've done recently that in the last few months, I found it life-changing for me too, not looking at my phone after 8 p.m. So we got a few more questions. Let's see, Gwen. Okay, do you have a good way to make yourself eat slower? I always eat too fast and get when I was younger, I felt like I used to eat slow. It's interesting, when you look at the psychology of eating, some people find that they need certain sensations. Like some people like crunchiness. That's why sometimes I would recommend someone like, why don't you have a protein shake instead of having a meal? Like if you're used to eating 3 meals a day, eliminate 1 meal, have a protein shake, and then eat your 2 meals. But people have said to me, Mike, when I drink a protein shake, I don't, even though it tastes good, I don't find it satisfying. It doesn't do it for me. I'm starving an hour later, even though it may be a healthy type protein shake. In your case, Gwen, if you're eating really fast and you're gulping your food, I would start with food that you can't eat quickly. And I find things like salads. Like if you had a salad, like an arugula salad with cut up vegetables and cut up peppers, broccoli, cauliflower, you can't eat that fast. You just won't be able to. And then you're gonna kind of and you really have to, it's fibrous, it's chewy. You can't eat a piece of broccoli quickly. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to really chew it. And there's only so much you can get on a fork when you're eating like an arugula salad with an avocado in it. Start like that and try to notice the pace in which you're eating. I know like a slice of pizza, you can just sculpt it down. I would try that. You can also do people say you can do that. Tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in a glass of Pellegrino mineral water and just drink that first. Have a salad before your meal. Try to do things that's just going to slow you down a little bit. Let's see. Oh, yes, he said, oh yeah, I can eat a salad fast. Okay, if you can eat a salad, that's what other ones. If you can eat a salad fast, I would say you're just going to have to, I'm not sure what to tell you. I would just say you really make a conscious effort to just eat a little bit slower. I know it's hard. It's not easy. Let's see, Alexandra. Okay, my fitness goals for the beginning of 2023 is lose about 30 pounds. Think of eating 1,200 calories a day, 150 grams of protein a day. I think that sounds great. So let's say I'm assuming okay, about 30 pounds. So let's say 1,200 calories a day. I wouldn't go much below that. Let's say you're 150 pounds and you want to weigh 120. I don't think you have to go as high as 150 grams of protein. I mean, you can, like the formula I gave you, you can go with goal weight too, and it can work well. So say you're 150 pounds, you want to weigh 120. I even think at 150 pounds, you can eat 1,500 calories a day. But if you want to be more aggressive, you can go with 1,200 calories a day. And then you can calculate your protein off your goal weight as opposed to your normal weight. 150 grams of protein, I think that's excessive. That's what I eat. And I'm like in my 160s. I'm kind of on the muscular side for an older guy. I don't think you have to go 150. With 1,200 calories, I think you can do 80, 100 grams of protein. I think you'll be fine. And it'll be more sustainable with you. So for example, let's say you have that protein shake in the morning, right? That'll be 120 calories, 25 grams of protein. Then all you need is 2 other meals, like 2 MAD. Say you're doing 2 MAD, and all you need to do is to take in maybe 30, 40 grams of protein, those 2 other meals. So say you have like 2 other meals that I pick tea and make them a little bit smaller, keep your calories around 1,200, you'll do great. And you can eat. So I'm assuming now, Alexander, you'll probably start following my stuff a little bit. I also like cycling. You can even do like 1,200 calories for like 3 days. And then just to boost your metabolism a little, because you have to be a little careful with the metabolic adaptation. You may want to do like a 1,500 calorie day and then go back to 12. It's good to do that too. I like that, like cycling your calories a little bit. You know, being in a deficit, then maybe do a maintenance day or something like that. Or you can just stay at the 1,200, and then I'd probably want you to take a diet break halfway through your 30-pound weight loss journey. So say you're a couple of months into it, you're 15 pounds less. I would want you to take 2 weeks off, go to maintenance calories, then go back to 1,200. But if you want to aggressively do 1,200, every few days I probably would do a 1,500 calorie day too. I also would just take a basic multivitamin and just stick to that fiber and things to make sure you're eating healthy, you know, when you're going that low. Okay. And then you just want to go over some improvements I plan on doing for 2023. Plus, I think we got some other questions here. Okay. Drink a glass of water before eating. That will help a ton. I agree. Great advice for Gwen. That sounds good. Here's Chris. There is a new feature on my iPhone where you can get your screen to turn off the blue light. You know, wow, that's cool, Chris. If you want me to email you I'm good at this stuff. I just wasn't aware of that. I really appreciate it. I will figure out how to do it because I love it. I just got this new iPhone Pro Max 14 that I'm thrilled about. I literally hooked it up yesterday, put the screen protector on it and the case. I also do, I don't know if you guys know, I'm an Amazon influencer, and I do a lot of shoppable videos on Amazon, meaning that, you know, I don't know if you noticed this, when you go to Amazon, you go to buy something, and you look at the reviews. Before you see the reviews, you're going to start seeing videos underneath there. And those are from Amazon influencers, people like me. You need a social media following before they accept you. Once you get accepted, you're allowed to make these shoppable videos. So I have about 300 of them already, where I review a product, and if someone clicks it and buys it, I'm at a 45% conversion rate. I make 2 to 4% off that sale. And I just did it with all the like with the screen, you know, the screen protector for my phone and for the screen case. So if you want to look me on Amazon, go with my call at Amazon. I do a lot of supplement reviews there too. But I'm good with these cell phone type things. So I'm going to look at that, Chris, and I will definitely turn on that blue light feature. I have it on my computer where in the evening it goes down. But I don't know if you noticed this, if you can see the tint on these glasses. These are Gunner, and I reviewed these on Amazon, and I make a little money when people buy them. They actually block the blue light, if you can see, and I really love these glasses. I don't know how great looking they are, but I find it that I used to get headaches with all these LED lights, and so I started wearing these like blue blocker Gunner. They call these like Gunner gamer or computer glasses. It really, I don't know if you can see the yellow tint to it. It really blocks the blue light, so I love it. But I will do that on my phone. That sounds great. How much do I weigh? You know, I go from like 165, 167. I'm not that tall, like 5'9". You know, my body fat range is, I generally don't go below 10% body fat unless I really, really try. I probably hover around that 10. You know, I go where you can just kind of see my abs, you know. And then around my birthday, but I messed up this year because I pushed too hard. I try to really get a 6-pack for my birthday every single year. So but I've been finding that less obtainable because I seem to have a little bit more fun with my diet in the summertime, and my birthday's at the end of the summer. So going forward, I'm probably going to pick a different time of the year, ignore my birthday and pick a different time of the year, maybe like November, like right before the holidays or something like that, to get a little extra lean. And that's what I'm talking about, Alexandria, when it comes to like cycling. I'll go on like a low calorie-ish type thing for maybe 6 weeks, get a little extra lean. I used to do that for my birthdays and then work out a little bit harder. I like to cycle the intensity of all my workouts and even my eating. But here are some changes that I'm going to do for 2023. Well, I'm going to go into this big. I've said this in my last stream. I've just been noticing just from my clients and friends and just the world in general. I think this pandemic is really taking it, whether people are conscious or unconscious of it, has really taken its toll on people. And I think just I don't think people are as social as they used to be. I don't think I'm as social, as I used to be since the pandemic. So I'm going to really make an effort to just keep in touch with people more. I feel like the pandemic, like everyone lost like 3 years of their lives. Like I feel bad for my kids because they went to college. I mean, college now, that's some of the best time of your life, and they're like missed out on a lot because of the pandemic. But they're still really happy and they're doing well. But I'm personally, and I'm recommending this in general, I'm just going to keep in touch. Like the cool thing is, even when I do these live streams, like I reach out now to old friends I haven't heard from in a while and say, I'm going live today. Why don't you come and say hello? I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start every day. I'm going to start calling someone that maybe I haven't spoken to in a while. I'm going to try to get together. Like I just saw like old friends last night. Actually, I saw a couple last night this is my friend Bill. He hired me 45 years ago, and we ran this gym together in Westchester. I remember showing up for the job interview, and he handed me this test. He was a really smart guy. You imagine I show up for a gym job, they hand you a test. People were shy. I did really well on the test. That's why he hired me. I used to study a lot of Arthur Jones type stuff back then. And he actually married the aerobic instructor. And we're all like really good friends. But we were saying, I couldn't believe how long it's been since I saw him. It felt so good to see them. And I really feel like I don't do that enough. Life goes by, time goes by, my kids are getting old. I'm really going to make an effort this year to keep in touch with people more, no doubt. The other goal, and I just recommend everyone listening to this do the same thing. Call someone every single day. Call your parents, call your brother, call your sister, call an old high school friend. Keep in touch with people. You feel so good when you do it. And then I'm also going to, like I said, I'm going to switch over to I want to try to get a little bit more discipline with my schedule. Like if I say I'm going to do these live streams, I don't want to not do them. I'm going to come up with a real content calendar. And I've also something that I've really found that I've done during this pandemic too. The pandemic crushed the gym business. I had to close my gym for 8 months at one point while paying the rent and paying all my expenses. And I really feel like my main goal is I do want to become like a full-time content creator and make a living from just doing this type of stuff, putting out content, helping people live a happier, healthier lifestyle. I have neglected the gym over the last couple of years, so I can't do that anymore because all my revenue mostly comes from that. So I really have to start focusing on the gym. So that's kind of my plan going forward. And that's it. So we'll end this in a couple of minutes. We've got some more questions. Hey, thanks for showing up. Very funny because I probably emailed you. I know you on my I used to have a really popular website, Fitness Contrarian, from years ago. So I have some people on my emailing list there. So I appreciate you showing up. I also saw a lot of stone-faced people. That's funny. More than usual. That's funny. Had to take care of my son. I'm glad you're still alive. I agree this pandemic has changed the world. I'm definitely not as sociable as I used to be. Maybe I need to work on that. Me too, Heather. I'm healthy hollow. I'm gonna really work on it. I feel like last night I started seeing my old friends. It was so good to see. I felt so good seeing them. That's why I want to make a little comment, a little slide of it. Okay, we can't take our friends and family for granted. We never know when it will be our last moment with them. I totally agree. Okay. All right, guys, gals. This was great. I feel like I'm back into it now. I haven't done a live stream in like a month. So this is it. I'm going to do one every week. I'm not sure if it's going to be Sunday. This is what I'm going to work on my content calendar over this past week. The only reason why it may not be Sunday is that this is the last semester where my son's going to be running at the college level, and he's like the captain of the team. And I know he has a lot of meets, mostly on Saturday. So, but I have to travel to get to these meets. So I'm not sure. I'm going to pick a day. I know I've asked you to get this in the past. If you can leave some comments, let me know. If I had to do it during the week, what time would work for you guys. Like if I did something like a late afternoon during the week, like a Friday afternoon, does that work? Or does it really have to be on the weekends? If it has to be on the weekends, I might switch it to maybe earlier on Sunday, or maybe even maybe Saturday morning. But sometimes I have clients. I have to work it out. But let me know. Also, keep on leaving comments and share my stuff, with anyone you think it could be helpful with. Also, give me ideas for videos to make, any type of content you want me to create for you guys. I may even do a little bit of vlogging now since I have this new iPhone, like a day in the life when I'm taking my walks and things like that. But I appreciate it. Let me say, we got a couple other questions. Okay, Mike, you're a wonderful soul. Oh, God bless you. Thank you so much. And thank you for everything you do for the community. I really appreciate it. Hey, Nicholas, I'm so glad that I found your channel back in March last year, Mike. Thank you so much I really appreciate it, Nicholas. That's so nice of you. Late afternoon, any time during the week is good for healthy hollow. That's good to know. Jeff, if it's Friday, do after 6 p.m. That could be a possibility too. I just don't want to mess up people in the UK. That could be good, Jeff. Maybe like a late on Friday, like an early evening on Friday. Also 8:20 p.m. for me right now. Wow, yeah, that is a little bit later there. So if I did 6, that would be kind of late for the UK. I gotta see. Enjoy your weekend. All right, thanks, guys. Have a wonderful Sunday. If you haven't walked already, get outside today. I'm going to go take my walk right now. I'm going right over to the Hudson River. Get outside, get a little sunlight. Nice day in New York today. Hope it's nice and sunny where you are. Take care, everyone. And really thanks for showing up. And thanks for the super chats, everyone. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks.